Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with RJ. If this is your first time listening, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you know exactly when we release brand new episodes. Also, don't forget to follow. This episode is going to be talking about who lies more, men or women. We often get this concept that all men are dogs and men are liars, and men are often portrayed as the liars in the situation. We are often portrayed as the villains in the situation. Like on social media, if a man is caught cheating on his girl, often all the girls come to the aid of that person. They start yelling at that person, demonizing that guy. He's a dog, he's heartless. How could he cheat on this woman? What, it's just so much negativity that is aimed at this man for cheating. Understandably, no one should cheat on their partner, especially if you agree to a monogamous relationship. But the fact is that when you see women on social media, the overwhelming support is essentially hypocritical. There are women out there that cheat on their men and they'll brag about it on social media. Now, I'm not saying this is every woman because I know everybody's different. But there is a growing population of women who are cheating on their men openly. And then they get justified by other women in the same boat, or in their circles, or people who follow them, or just people who think they look beautiful. They go, "You go, girl, that's right. If a man can't keep you, he's not good enough. He's not worthy. He's not strong enough. A man should be able to keep his woman." There's all these justifications that happen, and it's unfair. Because cheating should be looked down upon from whether you're a male or female. It doesn't matter. If you're cheating on your partner and you both are under the understanding that you have a monogamous relationship, cheating shouldn't be justified for any reason. If you don't want to be with that person, leave. If you're not happy with that person, first take a deep look inside and make sure you're not contributing to that unhappiness. And if you know that you're doing your absolute best and you're still not happy because you feel like you're giving and you're not receiving in return at all, like your partner is not contributing to the magnification of happiness in your life, then yeah, maybe it's time to go. But in today's episode, I'm going to be accepting some of my other listeners who are going to be listening and reaching out. I want to hear their opinion as well, because it seems like one side gets justification, the other side gets justice. And that's not fair. Because when it's all said and done, justice is supposed to be fair. I'm not talking about the court system that we have now, that justice is based off of how much money you have in your bank account or who you know. I'm talking about justice being blind. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, black, white, gay, straight, doesn't matter. Justice looks at you and goes, you know what? You did this. This is the consequence for that. So we're often hear the kind of lies that guys talk about. Oh, I'm going to go out with my boys. We're going to go have fun. We're going to go kick it. Or, hey, my phone was off. It wasn't working. Or, I didn't have service. Or, hey, we got a bachelor party going out there, but don't worry. There's not going to be any strippers. Everything's going to be fine. We're just going to go out there with my boys. We're going to have a good time. Just the guys. And then they won't answer the phone the entire night. Well, maybe some guys just need their space. Maybe they are doing exactly that. Then again, maybe not. It's possible that they're absolutely not doing what they told you they're doing. And guys go out and, there's a lot of, I'm talking about specifically the lying cheaters, the guys that belong to that population. They're out there, oh yeah, mom, babe, I'm sorry. I was in the mountains. I couldn't hear you. There's a storm outside. You're like, babe, it's the middle of summer. How is there a storm outside stopping your phone from working? You could have called me. It was hard. My boy needed me, he was depressed about something. He's a little scared. I had to talk him into getting married again because he was having cold feet. All these little lies to disguise their cheating. Now, what kind of lies is common? And now, I don't want anyone to think that I'm an anti-feminist. Like, I support equal rights for women as well. I believe that women are equal to men. I believe that women are very special and very sacred in this world, which is why they're getting so much of an attack right now from people who want to minimalize the very special, sacred nature of what a woman is and say, you're a birther, you're a baby carrier, you're ovary carrier, or whatever the case may be. They're taking away the very sacred and special nature of who a woman is. And they're arguing and debating on something that's so simple. If you want to be a male that is attracted to other males, good for you. Go for it. Be proud of who you are. Who am I to say you don't have the right to do that? Or who am I to say that you're going to go to hell or heaven for that? I'm not God. You have the right to love and live as you choose. That's your right. And as a vet, I fought for that right. And I defend it to the fullest. If you're a woman who's attracted to other women and want to live, that's your choice. But what I don't agree with, and what I'm not a supporter of, is when people are completely erasing the identity of something so special and so sacred. Who you love is a choice. What you are is not a choice. I'm talking about your genetic makeup. That's not a choice. You can't change that. Just like you can't change your age. They have legal minimum ages to drink alcohol, to buy a firearm. You can't just walk up and say into a gun store where the legal minimum age is 21 to buy a firearm and go, yeah, I'm 12, but I identify as 21. They're going to look at you and be like, yeah, come back later. I'm not stupid. You're not getting a gun. You can't come up and say, and then now there's a new movement coming out where people are transracial. That is just so funny to me. I'm seeing these people who are clearly of European descent, who have no Asian descent or features at all visible to them, but they're saying I identify as Korean. Like, just because you speak a language, like, I'm black, but I speak almost fluent Spanish, doesn't make me Latino just because I speak Spanish. I've always loved the Spanish language. I've always loved the Latino people. I love their culture, their family mindset, like how supportive they are of each other. I've always loved that, and it's not to say that no other race has it. I just have really experienced it more so from Latinos than I have any other race in my experiences. Now, again, I'm not saying this doesn't happen in other races. I'm saying in my experiences, that's where it's happened. So you see some people who happen to be white, who have been born and raised around in like urban areas where blacks are the majority. They're going to adopt some hood characteristics if the environment they're raised in is hood. If they're raised in a ghetto, then yeah, they're going to adopt those types of traits, regardless of the color of your skin. You are a product of your environment. So, getting back to the point, the types of lies that men tell are often very different. And one of the biggest lies that guys tell is, "Don't worry, I'm going to leave my wife for you. You and I love you. I really want to be with you. My wife she's toxic. She's so irritating. I can't stand her. I finally found someone I love and that I want to be with, and I'm going to leave her. I'm going to leave her for you, but I'm going to need some time because we have kids." That's one of the most common lies women hear when they're dating or messing around with a divorced man, or a married man, only to find out the guy's not going to leave his wife for you. It's too expensive to divorce when you have money like that. Assuming this person has money. And if he doesn't, it's still going to be expensive because he's going to have to pay alimony most likely, and child support most likely, and all these other bills that are just going to make him significantly more poor. So they tend to stay with their wives unless they absolutely can't. Unless it's just so hellish that they're just like, yeah, I'm done, white flag, and they leave. Now let's talk about some of the lies I've heard many women use. A lot of them aren't even verbal. A lot of them are like visual. How many women out there wear Spanx? You have a certain type of body. You're not walking outside with your normal figure. You're walking outside with Spanx to hold everything in to make yourself look more appealing. That's a lie. That's just as much of a lie as if a man were to rent a Mercedes-Benz, a brand new Mercedes, go to a club with a ton of money that's actually the result of a loan, and act like he's got so much money, and girls go like, oh my gosh, he's rich, he's got money, oh cool, I want to get to know this guy. And then you end up sleeping with them only to find out that's not his money. He's got to pay all that back. That's a loan. He just happened to get approved for a loan, and he's broke, and he's got nothing going for himself. You'd be really mad. You're like, you liar, you're a liar. I thought you were someone else. You're not. Well, how do you think some of us feel? When a woman's out there, she's got this long, flowing, beautiful hair, and then when you finally get to the house and you finally like have fun with her, you kick it with her and stuff, all of a sudden she takes off the hair and you find out it's either a wig or they're extensions or tracks. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought your hair was down to your shoulders. You mean it's like it, you got a fade? How do you have a taper? Like what happened to the long hair I saw you with last night? Oh, that was a wig. Oh, okay. That's a lie. I mean, yeah, you're coming honest later on, but you present the appearance. I'm not saying this is all women, but there are a lot of women out there who fall into these categories. They're presenting themselves as this appearance of a woman with extraordinarily long hair. And some women wear these really beautiful diamond rings or all this jewelry, that makes them look like they got a lot going for themselves when in fact the jewelry's fake and they don't. Or you also have the women who wear the padded bras who make their boobs look so much bigger than they actually are to make themselves, more pleasing. Now, I meet so many women that tell me all the time, "Oh, I don't wear makeup for men. I wear makeup for myself. I don't dress like this for attention from other people. I dress like this for myself." I call BS on that. People can go ahead and tell themselves that, but I can't agree with that. I don't think that's true. Case in point, when people start cohabitating with each other, whether you're married or you're just dating, but you're living with each other, at some point you stop wearing makeup around the house. Maybe like the first couple of days, you're going to brush your teeth when you get up in the morning. You might even wake up in the morning early so that you can go brush your teeth to make sure that you don't kiss your boo with dragon breath. But in my opinion, just a sidebar, I think Dragon Ball. I think dragon breath kisses are some of the most special kisses. That's just my opinion, because they're vulnerable, they're mourning, and it just kind of reminds you that this person's building a life with you. So I think it's sweet. I mean, they're special to me, and I'm not saying it's a fetish. That's just, there's a meaning behind it to me. But going back to the point, all those women out there, or majority of those women out there that fall into these categories, if not all of them, they stop wearing makeup when they're by themselves at home. They don't dress in their nice, gorgeous outfits when they're at home. They wear something comfortable. They don't have their hair all done. They don't have, they might have their nails done, because you got to just get your nails done like once a week or so, but they're not dressed up and they don't have their eyelash extensions on. They're not wearing all this extravagant stuff at home when no one's there. When they're not expecting company, they're not dressing up like that. So when they go outside and they put that stuff on, that's proof that they're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it because they really want to feel pretty to other people. If you really didn't care what other people thought, you would go outside just the same as you are at home. Of course, you would shower because you don't want to stink and smell bad. You don't want to be unkempt. You want to be neat. But for those people that have to go outside with makeup and have to go outside with hair, with eyelash extensions and all this other stuff, you're not doing it for yourself, no matter how much you tell yourself that. You're lying to yourself, and you're also lying to other people. Don't you realize that you're good enough? Yeah, everybody has work to do. Everybody has improvements they need to make in themselves, but you're good enough. You don't need eyelash extensions. You don't need all that extra makeup. Makeup is supposed to enhance your beauty, not cover it up. To all those ladies out there that hide behind makeup, you're beautiful. Don't cover up what you were given. That's a gift. Use makeup to enhance you, not cover you up. Don't dress a certain way to make yourself look more appealing, because if you can't get the attention of somebody by just being who you are naturally, that person's not worthy of you. And for those guys out there, if you can't get a woman by being who you really are, if you have to pull out your wallet and jewelry and a nice car and all this other stuff to get an attention of a woman, she's not worthy of you. You should not have to pay so much money to get in a person's attention. Simple, sincere, romantic gestures should be enough. And again, I invite anyone who's listening right now, you're definitely welcome to reach out, and I'd like to hear your opinions on some of this stuff, because maybe I might be missing something, maybe not. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. But I'm not looking for debate, I'm looking for a dialogue. That's what it is that we really want. Too many people these days are not talking. They're yelling at each other. They're arguing with each other and nothing is being learned. There are different perspectives that people have. Not everyone has the same perspective. Not everybody has the same opinions. Not everybody was raised the same. So sometimes there's different opinions, and the thing that's the most important is to welcome and respect the opinion of someone else, even if it's different from your own. So let's start having more dialogues. Let's talk about why I can't possibly say I know why so many women dress up and all this stuff. I can only speculate because I'm not a woman, and I don't wear Spanx, and I don't wear a padded bra, and I don't wear hair extensions. I don't wear that stuff because that's not me. But when I see all these women wearing these things, how many concerts have I gone to? How many shows have I gone to that I see these women dressed cold? Like they have this really small little skirt on, dressing it's cold outside, but they're dressing like this. And like half their boobs are hanging out. Like if they sneeze, they're either going to rip their dress or their butt's going to fall out. One of those things. That's how tight some of these dresses are. And I'm like, sweetheart, you're not comfortable. And you could tell when a woman's comfortable wearing heels because she'll stroll in those things. I've seen a number of women walking in heels and they just strutting those things with confidence. Like you don't even realize they're in heels. And then I've seen a number of women who walk like baby deer learning to walk for the first time. It's pretty funny to me to see some women walk like that. I'm like, maybe you should get a little training or, watch a YouTube video or something like that about how to walk in heels. But the thing is, these so many women dress like this to get the attention of men who don't care about them. Think about that. What kind of investment is that? You're sacrificing your own comfort, your own personality, and your own worth to get the attention of somebody who is not worthy of you, somebody that doesn't care about you, somebody who only wants what's between your legs. Is that really what you want to invest in? Men, for those of you guys who want to wear all this jewelry to get the attention of women, why? You're sitting there trying to fight to get the attention of a woman who doesn't care about you, who's not going to have your back. When the money leaves, so will she, and she's going to suck your bank account dry if you got money like that. And if she finds out she's the other woman, and she'll be patient. If she's that kind of one that doesn't mind messing with a married man, she'll be patient, she'll be cool, she'll let you go ahead and have fun and be with her for a little bit, but you have a time limit. You're on the clock. At some point, she's going to make you make a choice. Either you choose her and leave your wife, or you're going to suffer the consequences. And of course, you're going to talk to her and be like, you knew what time it was. You better leave me alone. Don't you mess with me, because I know people. You're going to try to tell her that. And maybe it might work. But most likely it's not. Because what you don't know is that this woman who's giving you this ultimatum has already looked at your phone. Oh, well, wait, she doesn't have the password. She doesn't need to. Women like that are willing to mess with somebody who's already in a married relationship, they're not stupid. They know what's going on. Then there's always an exception. Again, there's always an exception. There's always a handful of people that don't fit this category. But the vast majority of them aren't to be played with. They know what they're doing, and they're doing this on purpose. And they're telling you, I'm not one that's going to lose. I'm going to win this battle. It's your wife versus me, and I don't lose. So you leave her and you get with me. And you're like, nope, not happening. And then guess what? All of a sudden, you're going to be invited to a dinner, and guess who's going to be there? Your wife and your mistress. Or your mistress is going to reach out to your wife. Or you're going to come home one day to your house and you're going to see your mistress sitting on the couch reading to your kids. And your mistress is going to be like, oh my gosh, she says she's your secretary, having no idea. And your mistress is going to look at you and be like, yeah, I can reach you where it hurts. Let's see you get out of this one. I mean, it's like a movie, but like that stuff happens. So if you're in a committed relationship, don't risk it. If you don't want to get caught, don't cheat. It's that simple. Yeah, people are going to like you. It happens. But in my opinion, the best thing to do is just don't lie. Don't lie to your significant other, because it's always hard to cover up a lie. You got to cover up a lie with another lie and another lie and another lie and another lie and another lie. And then this is something that us guys often fail at. Women don't forget the lies you told them. That's a gospel fact. Women don't forget the lies that you tell them. If they think something is suspicious, you'll have some woman that will question you and cross-examine you right there on the spot and be like, nah, hold up. That doesn't sound right. They'll do that. And then some others, they'll hold on to it and they'll remember it. I'm like, okay, he told me this in February. All right, they'll wait a couple months. And you don't realize it. You think you got over on her, but you didn't. Because she's just waiting. Here comes June. You told her a lie in February. Here comes June. And she's already got her case ready. And then she just comes up and like, hey baby, did you have fun? Like, you have fun with your friends in Vegas, right? And then she's like, then you're all like, oh yeah, man, it was great. It was so cool. But like, wait a minute. You told me you went to Dave & Buster's. Oh yeah. That's where we went. Nah, baby, like that's not something you would mistake. You would remember. No, I actually went to Dave & Buster's in Vegas. Nah. So why do I got a hotel, receipt on your card? Like, I'm curious. Like she's gonna realize that you're gonna not remember everything you told her. So you're gonna try to answer vague and minimal. Guess what? You're gonna lose a woman, and you're gonna realize that you invested so much time and attention. And it could have been real, it could have been special, but it's not because you chose to be stupid. If you go into a relationship under false pretenses or under negative pretenses, I say false pretenses meaning you're pretending to be rich when you're not, or you're pretending to have this incredible body but you don't, or you're presenting yourself to be one form but it's not true. The real you will come out. And then that person will decide whether or not they want to be with that version of you. But if you are willing to actually go out to clubs, like if you're a big girl, own it. Now, don't be of the illusion. Don't accept that stuff that's saying like being a big girl is beautiful and sexy and is healthy. That's BS. You have to accept the truth that the heavier you get, the harder your heart has to work to support your body. That no one's exempt from that rule. It's a physical rule. Your blood pressure increases the heavier you get. Your heart works harder. So lying to yourself is actually probably the worst, because at some point you start to believe those lies. If you're a big girl and you want to be big, you have that right. You're still beautiful. You're still amazing. But sweetheart, that's not healthy. You have to be healthy. Like, my fiance and I had a conversation about this, like when we first started dating. I told her, when I'm in a serious relationship, I only have one requirement that I ask my partner to support. And that requirement is, if you get big, I still will love you. I'll still be there for you. I don't mind. I don't care how big you get, how small you get, how tall you are, how short you are. The only requirement I request is that you stay healthy enough so that you're not a prisoner in your own body. When we have kids, I want you to be able to play with our kids yourselves as well. I want you to have fun. I don't want you to sit there on the knoll, on the grass and watch. I want you to be there with us. I want to ride roller coasters with you in the little door shuts. Because I don't want to go to those places alone. I'm not going to go there without you. I want to have fun with you. But if the roller coaster safety guard doesn't shut down and latch in safety, you're going to have to get off. And I'm not going to ride that without you. I'm not going to be that douche that sits there and, lets this girl stay on the sidelines. I'm going to get off and I'm going to be upset. Because that was something that could have been prevented by you taking better care of yourself. Additionally, I believe I'm responsible for protecting and taking care of her when she's not able to. Notice I said that. She can fight her own battles. She's strong. She's an independent woman, but everybody needs help. Even me. I'm a strong dude. I'm a big guy. I'm a strong athletic guy. But even I need support from time to time from my baby. I need her to be my strength when I'm weak, and I'm her strength when she's weak. We lift each other up. We never tear each other down. I do my best to stay athletic, to stay fit, to stay strong, because if something happens to her where she can't walk to the car, I need to pick her up and I need to put her in the car and take her to the hospital to save her life. Because my ability to put her in a car could be the difference between life and death. So girls out there, if you are a big girl, keep that in mind. If you're in a relationship with someone and you were so big, that person can't lift you or move you, that person's probably going to go into depression if something happens to you and you die. That person's probably going to be very suicidal because they felt they weren't strong enough. Your actions also affect others, and that's not fair to put that on somebody. Now, regardless of how big you are, there are ways to move you if, within reason. I can pick people up twice my body weight, and I can move people 3 times my body weight. Just because I've been trained in the military on how to do that. But the fact is that my fiance will never have to worry about being stuck inside the house, and I can't lift her up or pick her out or take her out. But that's something you have to think about. If you're too big, it's going to take longer for people to pick you up and get you in a vehicle to get you to the hospital. So your life depends on it. Now, I'm not talking about people who have thyroid problems or medical problems that don't allow them to lose weight. I'm talking about the people that are in complete control of their weight loss, but they choose not to. You're living a dangerous life. You really are. And the people who are going to suffer most are the people who love you the most. So don't bite into this delusion that being overweight, like severely overweight, is beautiful and healthy. It's not. You may be beautiful, but you're not healthy, and you're risking yourself from getting a heart attack. You need to be happy with yourself. Yes, that is extremely important. You need to be happy with yourself, and you have the right to be happy with yourself. But you also have to be realistic. Like, I could be happy with being lazy if my character won't allow me to do that. But just saying, like, figuratively, you could be happy being lazy, but it's not good because your bills aren't going to get paid being lazy. You have to get up and do something. And for those women out there thinking, well, I get men to pay my bills, guess what? You are working for that money. Even if you're manipulating someone, you're still doing something. You're not sitting on your butt and just getting paid. You actually have to get up and do something to get that money. So I'm just saying, like, it's so important to not accept lies, but to call truth and lies lies. Don't buy into the BS just to make an extra dime. Don't buy into the foolery just to please other people. It's so important that people just stop with this nonsense of thinking that one thing is true when it's not, just because you emotionally want it to be. How many guys are out there who are fathers of children and who believe within their heart, like, I am not acknowledging that child. That child is not mine. I don't accept that child. That child is not mine. But a DNA test proves it is. At some point, you have to just go, all right, well, it is my child. But there's dudes out there still, even after a DNA test, are like, nope, still not my kid, not my child. So I think it's just such a sad event when people are cutting themselves short and selling themselves short by being something they're not. Women, you are beautiful without all that extra stuff to alter your body. If you're not happy with your figure, go exercise, get healthy. Don't wear that spank stuff. Now, I get it. If you were a big girl and you worked hard and you exercised hard and you need Spanx because you have loose skin or something like that, hey, that's 100% fine. But I'm just saying, don't go out and be fake. Don't be fake. Be real. Be who you are. We have a guest named Darlene. Hello, Darlene, and welcome.
Hello, Ross. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm still living, and you're so right. But, we're living the lives of television. Don't you see it?
Oh, yes.
And people really think that, because they add a little extra pound here or whatever, that shit is causing people to die of cancer. We have to realize what's happening. But, when they're not talking about the consequences of our reality, so many people are going through changes that are really changing their body, and it's affecting their health. And we don't even understand it. When we go to the grocery store, we shop, all that shit in the chemicals, and we don't even know what it's doing to us. And we have so many people that are just obese. And what do? Their behinds are hanging off the little carts, and they're in there. And when they come out, they shop. They have all the soda and all the chemicals. But that's what happened. The body stopped working. indulged in the wrong foods and your body stopped eliminating the waste. People got big old bellies. Don't they understand that that's back waste in there? And you just carrying it around like luggage. It's kind of like, yeah, the joke with Eddie Murphy.
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, and so many more places. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, it's totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
That shit like luggage, but AIDS to kill you, and that's just real. But now we have monkeypox and everything else. But here in Nevada, where they have the syphilis capital of the world,
Yeah.
you go to the CDC and look at the website and see where the venereal diseases are. But keep your shit in your pants and keep your pants up. It's not that important. But there's something wrong with people if they think they have to have an individual to have sex with. You understand what I'm saying? Just because it doesn't mean that that's something that happens. You're supposed to when you're ready to have a family. That's what it's for. Because if you ain't, that family is soon to creep up on you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not prepared, so many people are just not prepared to have children.
Yeah.
And there's so much abuse and there's so much failure in public education. And what the hell are we really talking about? Because every year the children are not making it. And we're not saying shit. Everybody pays taxes. Wow, are they serious?
Yeah.
Social promotion? What is social emotional learning? What is that shit?
Well, kids are actually scoring the lowest, like, in the nation. Our kids are getting dumber and dumber and dumber because more and more teachers.
You have to understand the whole concept of education. And unless you raised a child that had been in special ed, you know what I'm saying? And I had the opportunity, I had one that was gifted and gifted. One that was non-specific disability, and one that they said was severely mental retarded and communication handicapped. All of my children graduated, and my youngest graduated with a 1-on-1 a laptop, and above proficient. So what are we really talking about when people are not even competing in public school anymore? What was wrong with that young man at 18 who would go in there and kill those children there in the 4th grade, 11 years old?
Yeah.
What happened? You understand what I'm saying? How did he have so much hate and anger? But who was giving him help? What the hell? You understand what I'm saying? How was it he not looking forward to grad night or, getting a piece of ass on, at graduation party or, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we can speculate substantially. Well, we can speculate substantially on like what would cause a person to do that without actually knowing what's inside his head. But like but
guess what? In public education, under special education, there are real tools to provide support to people. I promise you. You understand what I'm saying? There are real tools to assess and provide children with the development tools to encourage creativity. I mean, it's just a system, but has foundation, and the federal government assures what? Access. Only if you know that the federal government is there for you. Why do you think that people hate the federal government? Because it ain't there for them, boo. It's for you, people who are in poverty. But here in Nevada, everybody gets a fucking free lunch. It's amazing. I didn't understand how that happened. And then I understood surplanting is real. They just move money to put it where they want to spend it until COVID hit. And then they got the wake-up call.
It's really interesting. I've made some observations myself in various studies. Like, people didn't get sick as often when we were eating processed foods and other stuff like that, when we were eating foods that were made on farms and all this other stuff, all these like fake ingredients and everything like that. We weren't getting sick as often. Once we started eating these really, really, really healthy foods, all natural, organic, and all that stuff like that, people started getting sick more. Now, people might think, oh, that's BS. That's not true. I don't agree with that. Well, here's what scientists have proven in the community of scientists. They have said that in order for your immune system to get stronger, you have to be exposed to various bacteria, various viruses, to wear overly protective clothing or items that keep you shielded from being exposed to these things. It weakens your immune system. So that's why, like, the people that, you know, that live in bubbles, or people that have allergies to everything, they have weak immune systems because, for one, their biological genes, and also because they're not being exposed to anything outside of their normal biological genes. So by eating these processed foods and stuff like that, yeah, it makes us gain weight faster, and it's not as healthy. But also, a lot of those things happen to make us stronger immune wise. So I think it's just so important to not lose sight of that. And also, going back to address your point about the gentleman that, or excuse me, the guy, he wasn't much of a gentleman, the guy that went into a school, we can easily speculate about what happened, and we can speculate like what caused that to happen. But the thing is that we don't know what was in his head. He could have just snapped. People have mental breakdowns, and it doesn't justify. It's not about justifying what he did. What he did was horrific, but it's about understanding that some people do snap. I've seen it in war. Guys have, like, they'll have PTSD so bad, and then they just have a breakdown and they snap. And other people look at him like, that guy was one of the most happy people I've ever met. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know why they would just start shooting people. But some people just snap. Now, talking about that is a different subject, which I could definitely address on how I think it could have been prevented. But that's not the focus of this. The focus of this is talking about lying, about how lies do detriment to us. Another lie that's detrimental to us is to believe that the government actually cares about you. You know, and to go back to your point, Darlene, like, the government doesn't really care about you like they want you to. Here's an example of proof. For all you guys who are listening right now, when you were in school, were you taught to, when you get a good education so that you can get a good job? I'm pretty sure everyone's like, yeah, absolutely. We are all taught to get a good education so we can get a job. Well, those elite high-end schools, those private schools where the elite go, or the children of the elite go, they're taught, get a good education so you can own your own company. We are bred and taught from almost birth to be minions, to be the people in the field, to be the cotton pickers, to be the cutters, the pruners. We're taught to be the minions, not the bosses. We have a different education program. And in a capitalist government, now, people have different views on capitalist government. The irony for me is that a lot of those people that are out there speaking against capitalist governments drink Starbucks, or have an iPhone, or have an Android, or have some type of device that was made by a capitalist company. If you hate, just for example, if you hate abortion, you're not going to fund Planned Parenthood. You're not going to buy a Planned Parenthood t-shirt. If you hate drugs, if you hate medication, you're not going to give money to the pharmaceutical company. So if you really hate capitalist governments, then you shouldn't go out and get fuel, because that's run by a capitalist government. You shouldn't go out there and go to any of those major chains of stores like Costco and Sam's Club, because those are capitalist corporations. You shouldn't go buy Starbucks. You shouldn't go, so don't be a hypocrite. If you really hate capitalism, don't support it. That's another lie that so many people are out there. Oh, you're a fascist. You're a fascist. You're a fascist. You're a fascist. But they're literally pushing fascist propaganda to force others to believe as they do. The lies are killing us. The lies are stopping dialogue from happening, and they're making more monologues. They're making more, if you don't listen to me, then you're racist. Are you serious? Maybe I don't want to listen to you because you're just stupid. Maybe that's the reason why no one wants to listen to you. Maybe it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Maybe it has everything to do with the words coming out of your mouth. So I just think that it's important for us to just be real with ourselves and to start calling out BS as we see it. Darlene's back with us. Darlene, you there? Hey, Darlene.
Hey,
Welcome back.
I'm thank you, and I get it, but before, and as time goes on, we're living in a world where we don't really deal with everyday reality, and that's just real. And in America, the system has been established where there are people who choose to get involved and be engaged in the process. Well, they just show up, like they're part of the Parent Teacher Association, or they're part of the School Site Council, or they're a part of the committee for Title I and compensatory education, or they're part of the committee for special education. But all of these programs that are having federal dollars require community engagement. And when you don't understand, if you've never had an opportunity to just participate, the level of training that is provided is real. And nothing can happen in a bubble. Everything is happening, and sure, we may see it, but I don't think so many people have actually touched every level of the possible ability to participate in the development of our systems as we live in one America. And we are all Americans. And it just doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. It's just more of a belief system as to how people are going to utilize the money when it comes back to the local community.
Absolutely.
But the dollars are only there for the children who are generating those dollars. Would be the children in special ed, would be the children who are poverty, would be the children who are bilingual, would be the children who are in foster care or, neglected and delinquent. I mean, the federal government will fund states to help support them develop their people. But the state has an obligation to put a share of cost in.
Well, let me intercede on that part.
I mean, because that's the law. It's just basic law. That is the law.
Well, there's lots about the law that I've learned. I've learned in a really unique way, and I've learned that the law says that you can do something, and then there's other law, which is called case law, which is when the Supreme Court or state court actually rules and finds that they interpret the law a certain way, that it has to be executed. This law. Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, please. So the law is set, but there are always loopholes around the law when it comes down to the government, because they're the ones who write the law. Like the tax law. The tax law is huge. People were out there saying, "Oh, Donald Trump doesn't pay his taxes. Donald Trump doesn't pay his taxes." I could have told you that without even looking at his taxes. The man is a billionaire. He's got billions of dollars in assets. Even the people that were out there, telling people, look at his tax returns, they don't pay taxes either. That's just the loopholes in the tax hole.
And I'm really just saying that there are states who establish policies to implement the federal law. That's how come we have federal courts in every state, and you can adjudicate your case before the federal government, because it is up to the states to implement the required services based on a free and appropriate public education, just based on the basics of that. And because there is IDA 2004, and there are all these rules around regulatory guidance for states to follow, but they don't have to follow these, because George Bush changed the law, and he says, if you live in a state and the state is violating your rights, but if you choose not to stand up as a people, the federal government's not going to get involved. I totally get it.
That is what you just said is a very critical point. That's why they have us divided. They have us arguing with each other so much rather than arguing with them, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They want us fighting amongst each other so that they can manipulate and control us. So there's these laws out there that say that you have to give money to special ed and all these other things. But the thing is that
it's not. I'm just trying to tell you, the federal government only funds these things, and the agreement with the states is the states put in a fair share for the major programs. The states have to put in a fair share, but the states have to pay for all of their people, and the federal government helps with the additional burden. And that's how come I'm saying that, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 happened, yes. Brown versus the Board of Education happened, yes. And that's why the federal government is obligated to ensure that access happens for the people, and to put the burden on the states too. I mean,
Yes, it's absolutely true that the federal government is responsible for um funding a number of product or a number of services, a number of things like that. But what I have found out and what is sad is that more money goes to private partners who fund the politicians to get in office than us. When the first stimulus bill came out, if people don't read that stimulus bill, the reason why it took so long was not because the Republicans were fighting against the Democrats. It wasn't that specifically. The fact was that one party was like, wait a minute, we just need to give money to the American people because you're telling them to stay home during this pandemic. They can't provide for the families, so we need to give them money just so that they can provide for the families and take care of their bills. And that's who needs the money. And the other side was like, well, we're going to do that, but we also need to fund some of our partners and some of these other people. If you go back and read those stimulus bills, they're there. You can read them. If you go out and read those stimulus bills, you will see that a lot of the people who funded their campaigns were the people who received more money than you in the stimulus, like $70 million worth. Rather than sit there and actually use the money, the government has so much money available to themselves. But rather than use that money to make our kids smarter by giving them updated information, by giving them updated books, by giving them the right education and actually teaching them how to manage a credit card. How many of us when we were in school actually learned how to manage a credit card? I didn't. And I don't know of anybody else who did. I learned about credit cards in the real world with practical application of learning the right way to use a credit card from people who've done it. They didn't teach you that in high school. It's actually illegal. The state doesn't want everybody to learn how to stay out of debt because they make so much money with debt. Another thing they don't teach you is everyone has the opportunity to start their own business and be a boss because the United States couldn't possibly exist without minions. Someone has to pick the corn. Someone has to milk the cows. Someone has to go in there and do the dirty work. That's just how business works. That's how America and any other place in the world has to work. Someone has to do the dirty work while someone else takes most of the risk, if not all the risk, and calls the shots. There's always going to be a hierarchy. There has to be. Because not everybody is going to be financially equal. It won't work that way. Because we're humans. We're selfish. Everybody wants something unique. Look at all the tons of new genders that are out there. It started out with, well, I can transition from being a man to a woman, or I can transition from being a woman to a man. It was that simple. Now we have tons of new genders, quote unquote genders, because nobody is happy, or because people are not happy being normal. People are not happy being equal to someone else. You have these feminists out there that call themselves feminists that are fighting for equality, yet they don't really want equality, because they're not fighting, as I said in a previous episode, they're not fighting to get in the sewers. They're not fighting to be on the front lines to fight to overturn the draft laws that require that all men 18 years old and up have to register for the draft. Women aren't fighting for that. They're not saying we should have the right to do that too. We should have that same obligation. Women aren't fighting for criminal justice reform to say that women should have to do just as much time as men, even though we do 1 in 5 crimes that men do. We should have the same exact punishments. Women aren't fighting for that. Isn't that equality? So my point is that when we're living in a world where so many lies are being spoon-fed to us, we're going to continue to hurt only ourselves. We're going to get weaker and we're going to get dumber. So to support your child in living a lie is not going to strengthen them. To give your child a participation trophy is going to teach your child that winning is pointless. But the fact is, the reality is that not everybody gets the job. Somebody's going to get denied. And if your child does not know how to take rejection or take the word no, your child's going to most likely either assault someone of the opposite sex or somebody they're attracted to without their consent, or they will go up and shoot a group up. They will go shoot up an office, shoot up a school, or shoot up something to take out their frustration. That's what happens when people don't know how to deal with emotion. That's something that I was taught from a kid. I was taught to defend myself. I was taught to stand up for myself. These days, kids don't know how to stand up for themselves, because as soon as there's a problem, mommy or daddy jumps in and fights the problem away. But then when the real world hits, mommy and daddy aren't there. The person is just like, I don't know how to deal with this. This is overwhelming. This is too much here. And then it becomes so overwhelming that that person ends up killing a bunch of people. If you want to protect your kids, stop coddling them. Don't hide them from the world. Train them and teach them to survive in it. I'm going to do another episode about political correction and how political correction is an act of terrorism, because it really is an act of terrorism against against free speech. To walk on eggshells because you're afraid of what you're going to say because you don't want to offend the minority, that's not okay. And people are saying, no, there's actually a majority. There's a lot of people who believe in it. No, look at all the networks out there who are going woke. Look at Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret went woke and they lost millions, if not billions of dollars. Their stocks plummeted by double digits because they wanted to go woke. Netflix decided that they wanted to go woke, and then all of a sudden they're like, nah, we can't do this. We're losing viewers. People are no longer watching us. The majority is not woke. The majority supports free speech. So in closing, I just wanted to say that these lies that are going out here and being spoon-fed to us are just that. They're lies. If you keep buying into them, they're doing nothing but destroying you. They're destroying your family. They're destroying your loved ones. The biggest lie out there right now, well, actually, there's tons of very big lies, but I will point this one out. One of the biggest lies is that all white people are inherently racist and all black people are inherently disadvantaged. That is BS. It is not true. It depends on the mind of that person. If that person wants to be stupid, they're going to be stupid. It has nothing to do with the color of their skin. Because I know of this man, a black man, who happened to go and he was a journalist. He happened to go up and interview one of the highest leaders of the Ku Klux Klan. He met with him. He talked with him. He discussed ideas with him. They had dialogue, civil dialogue. And over time, that hate diminished. And he was welcomed among all the members of that Klan culture. In that area, that whole chapter welcomed him. They're like, nope, that man's respected. You leave him alone. You don't talk about him. After time, the black reporter was actually welcomed into the home of the Grand Dragon, which was that individual he befriended. They became very good friends. And then later on, the Grand Dragon went into the office one day, into his office, and brought out his Klan uniform and gave it to him and said, I have no need for this anymore because you've opened my eyes. If you want to change the heart of America, it is to be done with a calm mind and with a good example, not by censoring other people. If you want to end racism, educate people that not all blacks are stereotypes and not all Latinos don't speak English. Educate people with your example. Don't sit there and say, oh, I'm a Christian, and then start going up and being everything but. Show them who Christians are by being a good example. That is the truth. And I leave that with you. Thank you so much for spending time with me on Real Talk with RJ, signing out.